Okay. Good morning. Hi, everyone. It's Rita from Miss Rita to the rescue, and we are here for the first day of February, the Cricut Chat for the first day of February. Happy February, first day of the very short month. And this is not a leap year, so only 28 days in February, which we're going to craft in almost every single one of them. Good morning. We are doing this morning our mystery material Monday because it's Monday. And because it's February and the lunar or Chinese New Year is coming up, which I think it's on the 12th. It's on the 12th. It's short but long. We're actually expecting a big snowstorm. Everybody's acting all weird. Everybody's running out and getting bread and milk, and the kids. I kept my son home today because he has a long commute to school. It's like over an hour each way, and they are going to let them out early. So by the time he got there and actually got in school, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So he's home. And he promised he's going to help me today. So I thought that was a good trade-off for a easy day at school. So anyway, I hope you're all well. Again, it's the first day of February. We're going to be working on the next 2 weeks. We're going to be working on loads of Valentine's projects, but also we're doing things like we're actually going to do a Groundhog Day. So it's sort of a stretch, but I'm doing a Groundhog Day card tomorrow. That's actually, it looks like a quilt. And it says warm winter wishes on it. You're going to love it. And it's really pretty, and it looks like a quilt, and it has like a hex design cut out of paper. So that I thought was kind of like symbolic of Groundhog Day. And then we also have, we've got President's Day. We've got, let me just check. Mardi Gras, and we have Valentine's Day and all of that. So today we're doing a project for the Chinese New Year. And it is called red envelopes, or in the case of in Cantonese, I even looked this all up. In Cantonese, it's called Lai Si, and in Mandarin, it's called Hung Bao. And so that's what this is. It's a red envelope. Now, if you have spent any time with the Asian community, like at like a little Chinatown or something like that, or a Chinatown type of thing, you might see these around. They're very nice. Always red and decorated with gold. And so this morning, because it's mystery materials, I decided to use something that I had hanging around called adhesive foil. And this one actually ends up being stainless metal sampler, just slightly different than a lot of the other adhesive foil. So I did a little research, and there's a lot of adhesive foil, and it comes in a lot of different styles. So this one here is called adhesive foil fairy tale sampler, and this one is called stainless sampler, but there's also matte. There are lots of samplers. There's lots, what else is there's kinds that are like textured, and they're all available on Cricut, and you might have gotten yourself a roll of it. See, there's a foil matte, there's foil metallic, there's just plain adhesive foil. Then there are all these samplers. There's this beautiful one called Seaside. I don't think I've ever gotten that one, but it's out of stock right now. Anyway, so can't get that one. And when these first came out a few years ago, adhesive foil came out a few years ago, they kind of had them listed as their own sort of thing. They weren't listed as a vinyl because they're foil, and so they had them separate, but they have since put them all into the same category as vinyl. So but they've got a foil texture, very pretty. Often it's the very shiny kind of foil, but this one here, let me just get in real close so you can see. It's got a real textured look to it. You see that? And there's the silver. Looks like a stainless steel like refrigerator or something like that. Right, Sandra? Right? The Seaside one is not available. Anyway, what I did notice about this is that some of these foils are thicker than others. And the one that we're using today called stainless, I wanted to see how it cut. It actually cut really, really well. But I had to make sure I picked the right setting. So that's what we're going to do today. And let's see. I want to say hello to everybody. Whose birthday is it? Deborah? Whose birthday? Happy birthday to whoever it is. Is it Deborah? Hi, Susan. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Renee, Peralita, and Deborah. It's your birthday? Awesome. Vicky, Terry, Bren, what else? Oh, hi, Babs and Diana. And let's see, who else? Cindy, Kathy, and a lot of people on this morning. I don't know if it's because everybody's stuck at home from the snow or if they're just sort of here today. Thanks so much, Perlita. Sarah, so I think it's Deb's birthday. Hi, Deb, if it's your birthday. Happy birthday. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be making these envelopes. And I made them actually in two different sizes. I made it like this because I made it for these. I made these for my son to put like chocolate coins in there. And then I found out that these traditionally you're not supposed to put coins in there, so you're supposed to put paper money, new paper money, and they're very strict about the kind and the amount of money that goes in there, and there's all these traditions. Anyway, I thought it was a really pretty tradition and a fun tradition that I want to share with you. Now, if you don't want to make these Chinese red envelopes, I have also made them for my son for lunch money, and I put his name on there, Owen's lunch money, because he was always forgetting it. And what else have I done? I've used these as tip envelopes. This is an old American thing, I think, where you want to give a tip to somebody, like for instance, your hairdresser or your butler, that kind of thing. And so I'd put them in the money rather than giving them cash, and put it in a little envelope. So there's lots of uses for these little envelopes. Or like if you have a kid that is buying books with the Scholastic or something like that, there you go. Gift card envelope too. Yes, right, Perlita. Right, you could put a little gift card in there. So this is a very basic envelope, and I'm going to show you how to cut it. There's really nothing to it, but we are going to take some time to cut out these as well as these. Now, each of these symbols, and you might know even better than I, but each of these symbols stand for something. There's like good luck or prosperity and strength. I know this one is strength. And there's all different kinds. And if you look in Design Space, which is kind of what I started doing, and if you just type in Chinese, you will get a lot of the characters listed here, which isn't this great? And I just wanted to point out to you is if you see one that you like and you're wondering what does it mean, you can just click on this eye and it will tell you right here. It's called the sun character. And then if you wanted to go to view the entire set that this is in, you can click on here, but I just show you this again. This one's called Strength, and this one is Light. So I don't know, you can have a lot of fun with this. Believe, and let's go to look at the image sets as well. There are also some images. Yeah, this is the image set that I wanted to show you. It's called Pagoda. It's an older image set, but it has some absolutely gorgeous images that are Asian inspired, including geisha. And here are like our images that have the character, the Chinese characters, but there's also a bunch of really beautiful cards and stuff. It's called Pagoda. And you can even get the dragon. I learned a lot about Chinese, not a ton, but I learned some about Chinese tradition when I was researching for this. And so the red stands for energy, happiness, and good luck. So wrapping money in a red envelope, it actually is supposed to bestow even more luck and good wishes to the receiver. And it's also based on a tradition, going way back, having to do with dragons. That's why you'll see lots of dragons for Chinese New Year. There was a dragon that was terrorizing every year at a certain time, terrorizing a town until an old man came off of the mountains and put up red signs and did all of these different things like making loud firecracker type noises, and the fire eventually got replaced with firecrackers, which, as you know, Chinese New Year they always have the dragon, which is the dragon from this tradition, and then they always have the the firecrackers. So there's so much history here that it's just so much fun. You kind of can dive into it, and you can actually look up at Wikipedia red envelope and it will tell you all of this. So the red envelope is for putting in a monetary gift, and it's generally speaking given to younger people that don't earn their own money. So when you turn like 25, supposedly, you start giving envelopes out, and there has to be an even number in there. They have to avoid like the number 4 or 40 because that is so even number but not a 4. So it's lots of symbolism, and not to try to do cultural appropriation or anything, but there's just so much beauty in Asian culture that I thought this would be kind of a fun way to sort of explore that. Now, as far as the envelope goes, as I mentioned, I started with this smaller one because years ago when my son was going to grammar school, I would always, for every holiday, would send in some sort of treat, usually food. And so I would get chocolate coins and put them in these little tiny envelopes with a Chinese symbol on there for Chinese New Year. And so that's why I made them this small. But then as I started reading about it, I realized that I needed to make them a little bit bigger. So I went and searched for an envelope that kind of looked like this. And here is what I found. So I just went to images and just the general images, and I typed in envelope. And you'll see if you do that, because you know, I don't do envelopes all that much, but you'll see there's quite a few envelopes. So I figured I would tell you this is where you would find them. And I looked for one that was like more kind of like a basic and looked more like a manila envelope. And is it envelope? I always say envelope. I don't know. I don't know why, but that's what I say is envelope. And so I just grabbed one of these and did that with the symbols on it. So that's how I did it. And if you want this file, I'm happy to give it to you after the video is done. Check the description of the video, and I'll put this file there in your in the description. Okay. Let's see. What else did I want to say before we kind of get into actually crafting? Oh, so I had a conversation with a couple of product experts yesterday, and then also the Cricut people, and I explained that things were kind of not going that well in Design Space. They said that they have a number of changes that are going to go in. So they are working on it, but I will tell you, it can get frustrating, and it's okay to be kind of frustrated. I know I try to roll with the punches, but every once in a while I get frustrated too. And so I have to hop off. If that happens to you, just take a break, because sometimes, you just have to, stop crafting or craft on your iPad or on your laptop, go back and forth or whatever, because sometimes it's just not working well. So I just wanted to tell you that if you have a frustrating day, I had one yesterday. If you have a frustrating day, it's okay to just kind of say, I got to put this aside for tomorrow, and maybe things would be better. And there are people working very hard at trying to make changes, and like there was a lot of issues with moving things around and attaching things and saving things and whatever. So yeah, sometimes it's the same way when you're cooking or knitting or sewing. There's some things that just doesn't work for you that day, and it's okay to take a break. So it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. Okay, so let's get to it. So these are pretty easy to do. They're just regular envelopes that I've cut from red cardstock, and they have a score. So I'm going to use my scoring wheel today to score them. And then these are just characters that I put a circle around. And I wanted to show you real quick, how did I make that circle around there? Because it's not difficult to do, and I wanted to just kind of show you. So if you ever want to make like a circle or even a square, and you don't want it filled in, let's say, and I hope that Cricut Design Space is going to work for me on this, but what you want to do is you want to go over here to Shapes, and Shapes is right here, okay? Shapes, and we're going to let's choose the circle since I mentioned it. So let's choose 2 circles, okay? So they come in at like 3, they come in the same size, and one you're going to want to make slightly smaller than the other. All right. So if it helps, I think what I'll do is I'll turn this one on the top a different color so you can see what I'm talking about. So now I have my 2 circles. One is slightly smaller. It's 2.8 inches versus the one on the outside is 3. Let's just round it up. Let's make this 3 and make this one 2.8, just so that it's easy to describe. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to take a circle, a filled in circle, and create a ring, basically, you see? So I'm putting that circle on top, and I'm trying to center it like that. So to me, that seems centered. I'm just going to move my, yeah. I'm trying to center it. Okay, so that seems centered, right? And so then we're going to select those two images. Okay, so see how it selected them both. And then I'm going to use my slice feature down here. There's slice. Now I hope that it did it right. Nope, it didn't, because Design Space is being mean. All right, let's go back. Let's go back because it moved it for some reason. Let's make sure. All right, we have to go back. I was trying to show you something cool. All right, here we go. Let's see if that does it. Yeah? Okay. Select both, hit slice, and then you start peeling away, and there is your circle. So that's how I created these circles around there. Of course, you could always go into Design Space and search for a ring. Align center. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I could have just aligned center. You're right. You're right, Susan. And I don't know if you all know what align center is, but it's right up here next to, where is it? I'm trying to look. Here it is. It's shaded out for now. But if you had two things together like this, which you would group together like this, if you go up here to next to arrange to align, and then you can do align center, which align, here we go. And then they would go centrally aligned. Okay, that's what align does. That's different than arrange. Arrange makes the layers go insert, like on your desk when you have papers on your desk. Arrange is like, I want the back paper to come to the front paper. That's what arrange does. But align helps you to group things together that are supposed to be together before you group them. Okay. So just a couple of little hints there. All right, so let us go, as long as Design Space is going to let me do it. All right, let us go. See how these are cut off? I don't know why, but again, no big deal. It seems like when I move them, that's okay. So let's go ahead and hit make it. And here are our characters with the circles around them. I did group them and attach them together so the circle would come together and not cut separately. And then here on the envelope page, you see that this is perfect size for an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, which I do have. Actually, it's leftover Christmas paper that I'm going to put on. I'm going to put on my mat, and we're going to need to use our scoring wheel, as I mentioned. So I might as well move you over so that you can see all of that. All right. All right. So I'm just going to go and hit continue. And we're going to cut the paper part first. So let's do that. And that's a medium cardstock. And I don't know if you can kind of see a little bit right here. It's saying that I can use my scoring wheel. And here is my scoring wheel, as you've seen me demonstrate this many times before. So I'm just going to put in my mat. Take out my blade. And put in that scoring wheel, because remember, scoring happens first, okay? So it's scoring, then it's writing, and then it's cutting. Well, we don't have any writing today, so it's just going to do scoring and then cutting. It always stays in that particular order. Now, I also have, once we get done with this, I also have our stainless steel stainless steel, not really stainless steel, but our stainless vinyl on here. This one is very thick, so I'm going to take you back to see the different the different cutting pressures so you can see what I mean, because there are different types of cutting pressures for these. Okay, so now the scoring is done. We're just going to put back the cutting blade and it will cut those two. Are you guys talking about your they're talking about their craft rooms. Hey, listen, you know, my craft room is in the front of my house because it's my entire enclosed porch, and it's always messy. I mean, I try to clean it, and then I got to a point where I just said, you know what? This is where I work, and I'm gonna, you know, as long as I'm not gonna trip and fall over things on the floor, which I have done, then I'm gonna just make it so that it's comfortable to me. And if people came by, I would just tell them, this is where I work, you know, that kind of thing. So I keep a different type of, I don't know, cleanliness factor, right? Anyway, so we've got our envelopes done. And we're going to go up to the first mat, which is the Chinese character mat. I don't know what else to call it, like the letter mat. So we're going to hit the materials because we're going to change it. And we're going to go to browse all materials because I want to show you what I mean. So we're going to go to vinyl. All right. So here's vinyl. Look at how many different kinds of vinyl there are. And this is what I mean about the foil. See, adhesive foil. There's adhesive foil matte. And then if you continue to go down, there are all our holographic ones. There's shimmer, there's textured metallic, there's true brush. And sometimes this can get a little overwhelming. And you might say, gee, why is the adhesive foil and adhesive foil matte different? Is there a difference in the way that it cut? So I want to show you something. We're going to go to this bottom thing called material settings. And what this does is it shows every single material that can be cut. And it then gives you, I know I've mentioned this a couple times before. Sometimes people get a little lost here, but it will show you the pressure. Now the numbers are kind of like, when you're first looking at it, they don't make a whole lot of sense, but the way that I look at it is as a comparison. So the larger the number, the more pressure is going to be put on your blade, okay? And more pressure means a thicker cut. Sometimes you need a thinner cut or a lighter cut, let's say. And then also this is also a place where it might tell you the specialty blade or if there's a multi-cut here. So here is our adhesive foil and it shows as 121. But then you look right underneath there and there's adhesive foil matte and it's 161. All right. So in this particular case, I don't know. I'm sorry if you can't see it that well, but it is under material. You'd go here, browse all materials, and then you'd go to the bottom, material settings, okay? And this will give you custom materials. Now, generally speaking, if this is the first time you've looked at this, you don't want to go messing around in here, like changing things, but it's a good thing to look at if you're having a hard time, like, why should I choose this setting over that setting? Or what setting should I choose? Kind of thing. So in this particular case, adhesive foil and adhesive foil matte, this one is slightly thicker. And even though I'm using adhesive foil and it doesn't say matte, it just simply says stainless metals, I think what I'll do, just to be on the safe side, is I'm going to cut it under adhesive foil matte. Okay, so I'm going to go back to browse all materials. I'm going to go to the vinyl section and I am going to choose adhesive foil matte. Now I'm done. And now I can take my foil and I have it on my mat and I'm going to put it in my machine. And one thing too that you might want to be like concerned or think about is that when something comes off a roll that's very thick, it makes it hard to go on the mat. So if you use a newer mat, which is what I'm using, you won't have it lift too much. But another thing that you can do is you can take, and I'll just show you from here, you can take the sheet that's all rolled up, and you can tell usually when it's real thick. So like that, it's automatically kind of rolls up, and it makes it a little hard and a little frustrating to go onto the mat. So what you can do is you can turn it the other way like this, and it will help to make it sit a little flatter. You can also use tape, and I've used masking tape before, or you can just use a really good strong mat, a newer mat. Okay, so I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to stop fussing over here with this foil, and let me just go ahead and hit OK. So while it's cutting out, I'm going to show you how to put these together. They're so simple and they're just so cute, and you can really have a lot of fun with them, okay? So let me move you down. Okay. All right, so we have, this is another example of using vinyl on paper, since we all have a lot of vinyl. So let's go ahead and take off these paper envelopes. And these are scored, so you can see, you just have to fold them. This one has just like a little small backing bottom. That's what I call that, the bottom. I thought this would be the bottom. I don't think this would be the top. This is more the bottom. Then from what I understand, these red envelopes are not sealed, so I didn't bother with the seal, but you do have to obviously close them up. And I thought that putting them, I think I liked it this way better. Yeah. So, I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of glue and put it here on the bottom. And that's the thing about envelopes you have to be careful of, is that if you put all the glue there, you could end up gluing your envelope shut, and you don't want to do that. All right. And then a little bit of glue up and down the side where they're going to overlap. And believe it or not, that is it. Right? That's it. So you can make a whole bunch of these, and you can cut out all these different characters. Like I said, this one means strength. I know that that one means strength. I actually had cut out a few. And so what I want to show you is how you put it onto the envelope. So I'm just going to cut off one of these, and I have a piece of transfer tape that I've already used. It's good to use used transfer tape on when you're working on paper, just because you don't want to pull up too much of the paper fibers, and so that's why I use the used stuff. Plus I'm super frugal, so I'm using this, and I'm just doing what I normally do, which is I burnish it. I'm just going to use my pen to burnish it. Use whatever you have available. Turn it upside down, and whoops, look what's happened here. What's happening here? Oh, look at that. Has this ever happened to you? I'm glad it's happening to me. You see here that part of the backing stayed on the vinyl. This can happen to you. Sometimes if something's old and maybe you kept it in a place where it was near a heater, or it got really, really cold and then warm again. So this can happen. So you do need to just kind of use your little pick. I'm going to try to catch it. Here we go. So use your little pick and make sure, because remember, it's adhesive, right? See that? So my backing sort of stuck to the back of, and here is more. So maybe I put this in the wrong place. So this is good. This shows you what happens if this were to happen to you. All right. And by the way, if you do it and then all you see, oops, this little piece was left, just from the back, we're going to use our pick and just peel it off. Okay? So if that happens to you, just be patient with yourself and use your picky thing. Okay? And let's see. So just going to take this and center it on the envelope the way I want it. I'm not pushing down altogether too hard because, again, it's on paper and I don't want to have that transfer tape stick to the paper, but I do need to use it for this because it's sort of delicate. Okay, so you see how it sort of lifted up, but that's okay. I'm just going to use my finger and pat it down. And that is it. Woo! Okay, so here's our cutouts that we just did. I want to show you how this weeds, because it weeds the same as most vinyl, but in this particular case, it is kind of thick. So, let's just get our vinyl out. So in this particular case, I cut out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you might want to start off by just peeling off the outside part like this. And then you can work on each individual one. It is a little thick, as I mentioned. So you're going to want to be careful. And you might have to go back and do these little inside pieces. Like that. And that's how you weed this stainless adhesive foil. But yeah, you have to kind of, it's a little bit thick, and so it's a little harder to weed. But isn't that fun? So you learned a little bit of history, and you learned a little bit about other people's traditions and how to do and replicate them on your Cricut. Isn't that fun? So that is, boy, I talked fast or something, or this wasn't that detailed of a project, I guess. But that is how you make these adorable red envelopes. And when you are going to give them away, make sure that you put in an even number and you use paper bills, not change. And then when you give it, they're going to be bestowing prosperity and good luck onto other people, or particularly maybe it's your child or your loved one or whatever. And it's just a fun little tradition and a fun little thing. I know I'm going to do it for my son. I'll just leave it on the kitchen table for bonus history lesson, right? I'll leave it on the kitchen table for Owen maybe next Friday when it is the start of Chinese New Year. So, and interestingly enough, what I found out is that Chinese New Year is not just one day like it is for us. It's actually several weeks. Let's see. I wrote it down because I was like, wow, really? 16 days. Of course, it's an odd number with no 4 in it because that's what they told me. But so that is Hang Bao, which is a red envelope symbolizing energy, happiness, good luck. Anything in red is happy, energetic, good luck. Just the color red, and then putting the money inside of a red envelope makes it even more lucky, supposedly. Thanks everybody for coming today. Make sure you check back, and I will put this particular project in the description so you can just pick it up as a free project. And let's see what else there's there tomorrow. So we have another busy week full of lots of projects. And tomorrow is going to be my sort of dedication to Groundhog Day, which is going to be a beautiful card that looks like a quilt, just in case we're told to stay in bed because we have more of winter coming. All right, everyone. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.